We are going back to the deep. Welcome back, survivors, to another journey into the watery unknown. Like many of you, the moment Subnautica 2 dropped its early access version, I didn't just download it. I practically dove headfirst into it. I mean, how could I not? The original Subnautica gave us some of the finest thalassophobia fuel in gaming history, and Below Zero expanded that world with vibrant colors and rich lore. So, going into this brand new planet, my expectations were, understandably, cruising somewhere high above the clouds. But after spending hours exploring these new depths, building bases, and testing the waters with a friend, I have some thoughts. Some very honest, slightly conflicted thoughts. Before you go spending your hard-earned money thinking this is the ultimate next-gen underwater survival leap, you might want to stick around. Because this planet, it isn't exactly what we were promised. Let's start with the premise, because this time around, the narrative takes a pretty fascinating sci-fi psychological turn. In the original games, you were just a lucky, or unlucky, survivor trying to escape. This time, you are someone, or something, far more specialized. You play as a character equipped with a highly unique, lore-integrated ability, the power of rebirth. You are practically designed to explore this specific, hostile ocean world because death isn't the end for you. It's just a data reset. As you take your first few dives into the water, you quickly realize you aren't the pioneer here. The ocean is littered with the ghosts of the past. Before you arrived, multiple expeditions, researchers, and explorers set foot on this world. They had the technology, they had the manpower, and yet, they all died. Every single one of them wiped out by some mysterious looming threat or an ecological anomaly that the planet is harboring. Your mission? Pick up the pieces of these fallen expeditions. You have to rebuild your own bases from the literal scrap metal of dead men's dreams, survive the local fauna, and somehow find a way to diagnose and fix whatever catastrophic issue is plaguing this entire world. It's a great setup. It's mysterious, it's lonely, and it gives you a massive sense of purpose. But unfortunately, the moment you look past the text logs and actually stare into the water, that's where the cracks start to show. When you submerge yourself in a Subnautica game, the visual atmosphere is 50% of the experience. It needs to terrify you, but it also needs to mesmerize you. And this is where my first major disappointment hit me like a rogue Reaper Leviathan. To put it bluntly, the seascape here is incredibly dark, murky, and honestly, a bit boring. It immediately triggers an unpleasant sense of déjà vu, reminiscent of the first Subnautica's most barren zones, but without that raw, pioneering charm. Everything feels heavily desaturated. The lighting is dim in a way that doesn't feel atmospheric or spooky. It just feels dull. You find yourself swimming through vast expanses of water where the environment feels repetitive, lacking the unique geographical identity that made the previous games so iconic. And look, I know what some of you diehard fans might say, but it's supposed to be terrifying and deep. Sure, I love a good horror vibe. But there is a very fine line between an environment being intentionally dark to create tension and an environment just looking uninspired. Compared to Subnautica Below Zero, this new game looks like a massive step backward visually. Say what you want about Below Zero's smaller map or its heavy emphasis on land gameplay, but you cannot deny that the game was gorgeous. It was a masterclass in bioluminescent design. Remember the twisty bridges? The crystal caves, the vibrant neon purples, the shifting greens of the sea ice, and the incredibly detailed lively biomes? Going from that back to Subnautica 2's early access feels like jumping back in time. Despite the developers using a modern engine, the textures under the water feel flat, the lighting models lack depth, and the color palette feels restricted to shades of depressing gray and muddy blue. Instead of feeling awe-inspired by a new alien planet, I just felt tired looking at it. It feels like the team tried so hard to recapture the grim, terrifying isolation of the first game that they forgot to add the beauty that balanced it out. It's an early access build, so there's definitely room for polish. But right now, it's a bit of an eyesore compared to its predecessor. So if the visuals aren't quite carrying the weight, how does the gameplay hold up? Well, if you've played either of the first two games, you can put your scanner away, because you already know exactly what to do. The core gameplay loop of building and crafting remains virtually untouched. You spawn in, you swim around to find basic titanium and quartz, you craft your trusty habitat builder, and you start clicking rooms together. Don't get me wrong, the base building mechanic in Subnautica is fundamentally satisfying. Snapping corridors together, placing solar panels, and creating an underwater sanctuary will always have a certain cozy charm. But in Subnautica 2, it feels like the developers took absolutely zero risks. It's the exact same formula. You scan a broken fragment on the seafloor, you get a blueprint, you craft it. There's no major overhaul to how logistics work, no new innovative ways to power your base, and no fresh structural mechanics that make you feel like you are building a futuristic, next-generation research facility. It feels more like a standalone expansion than a true sequel in terms of mechanics. But let's address the massive, glowing peeper in the room, the multiplayer. When it was announced that Subnautica 2 would feature official cooperative play, the entire community lost its collective mind. Finally! We don't have to use buggy third-party mods to play with our friends. We can finally tackle the horrors of the deep together. I brought a friend along for this playthrough, hoping for a completely revolutionized cooperative survival experience. Instead, what we got felt incredibly lonely. Despite having another player in the game, the entire experience feels like you are just playing a single-player campaign, alongside someone else. There is a massive difference between a game built for co-op and a single-player game that just happens to allow another player into the lobby. Subnautica 2 currently falls squarely into the latter category. The cooperative elements feel totally superficial right now. There are no specialized puzzles that require two people to solve. There are no heavy vehicles that require a pilot and a sonar engineer to operate together to navigate dangerous trenches. The story progression doesn't change, the dialogue doesn't adapt, and the world doesn't seem to care that there are two of you. My friend and I ended up just drifting apart, doing our own separate chores. I would be off gathering copper, while they were on the other side of the biome scanning plants. The game does absolutely nothing to encourage or reward actual cooperation. That grand sense of shared discovery? It just isn't there yet. The multiplayer feature currently feels uninspired and unmapped, offering no new gameplay horizons. It just feels like a single-player journey where you occasionally see another diver swimming past your window. So where does that leave us with Subnautica 2? Right now, it's a mixed bag, wrapped in a lot of dark, murky water. The narrative hook of being a regenerating explorer trying to solve a dying planet's mysteries while picking up the slack of failed expeditions is fantastic. It has the narrative bones to be something special. But as a gaming experience in its current early access state, it feels heavily weighed down by an uninspired visual style that feels like a downgrade from Below Zero, a carbon copy base building system, and a multiplayer mode that desperately needs a clear direction and actual co-op mechanics. But let's remind ourselves of the most important context here. This is early access. If there is any development team out there that knows how to listen to community feedback and turn a rough, empty framework into an absolute masterpiece, it's Unknown Worlds. The original Subnautica spent years in the oven, constantly shifting, improving, and growing based on what the players said. I have high hopes that they will take a hard look at the lackluster underwater atmosphere and the bare-bones co-op system and start injecting the magic that this franchise is famous for. Right now, I'd say it's worth a look if you are a die-hard fan who wants to support development. But if you're looking for a polished, breathtaking, cooperative masterpiece, you might want to let this one stay in the incubator for a while longer. But hey, those are just my initial impressions. What about you guys? Are you digging the darker, more retro look of this new planet? Or are you missing the gorgeous colors of Below Zero as much as I am? And if you've tried out the co-op, did you manage to find that cooperative spark? Or did you just end up playing solo together? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this honest breakdown, Do me a massive favor and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a dive into the latest gaming updates. Until next time, keep your oxygen tanks full, watch your backs, and I'll see you in the deep. Bye for now.